Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And do not look at my notifications. And look at all my notifications. I got this one. Duolingo. I haven't done it that much. And Shield, a Spider-Man game. I hate that game now. And your animal friends. Okay. Let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below. Do all that fun stuff. And guys, there's this neat song that not new, but there's a song, a worship song that I like. It's called Millionaire. It goes like this. If I had $1 for every time they said God wasn't gonna come through, I'd be a millionaire. Whoa. Like that. And guys, let's go ahead and finish chapter 9 of the Puppy Place. And you guys know, there is Stella. I haven't read yet. Liberty. Cooper. Zipper. Molly, Oscar, Mocha, Teddy, Sugar Gummy, and Lollipop. Nala, Champ, Bonita. So guys, let's get started with chapter 9. My God is good like that. Yeah, he's good like that. Chapter 9. The visit to the Lechner's house really stuck with Lizzie. She thought about their family a lot. Of course, she was disappointed that the Lechner's lives were so busy. She wished that they could keep spirit, but she understood their decisions. She thought that her family and their family had a lot in common. After all, the oldest Lechner kid was a girl. There was a younger boy, and they were expecting a third child too. Plus, they obviously liked dogs. She had always been thinking about what Mariko had said about Eli. Lizzie felt bad that he was stuck inside with nothing to do. She decided to go to the library and check out some new books he might like. She knew of other graphic novel series similar to the one Eli and Charles loved so much. She just hoped some of the books were on the library shelf. Lizzie stopped at the library on her way home from school the next day. She couldn't believe her good luck. The library had all the books in the series in stock. That never happened. Lizzie took it as a good sign, and she checked out the whole series. She couldn't wait to take them to Eli. Lizzie had always heard that good news came in threes. On her way home, she wondered what other good things might happen. 1. She had the whole afternoon free to play with Spirit and Buddy. 2. She had found all the books she had wanted at the library. That left the possibility that one more good thing, number 3, was still to come. She crossed her fingers, hoping that one of the organizations had called, finding that Spirit had a spot in a training program. Would be the best news of all. Lizzie had convinced herself that Spirit would be an excellent working dog. The night before, Spirit had come to the rescue yet again. A bean had caught his hand in a cabinet door, and it was Spirit who had rushed to find someone who could help. Then, after Mom had come running, Spirit stayed with the bean until his hands was free. Spirit even licked the bean's ear to distract him. The bean thought it was hilarious. He giggled when Spirit's cold, wet nose hit his cheek. He didn't even cry when Mom cleaned out his cut. Mom had said Spirit was a real lifesaver. Even after the bean had calmed down, Spirit stayed by his side. The baby crawled right into the bean's bed that night and curled up to him for his bedtime story. Lizzie had taken a picture on Mom's phone and sent it to the Lechners, along with the story how Spirit had helped her little brother. Now, as Lizzie arrived home from the library, she saw Dad in the driveway. He was shacking the sharp end of the shovel against the thick, hard-packed ice. It looked like hard work. Dad stopped to wipe the sweat off his forehead. That was when he noticed Lizzie. He grinned and waved, propping himself on the shovel. As she approached, "Hi, Lizzie," he said. How was your day?" "Good," Lizzie answered. "Actually, it was pretty great." Lizzie got ready to tell Dad all about her library success. But then she saw the smile drop from his face. "What is it?" she asked. "Sorry to tell you," Dad said, "but I heard from the police chief. He says he's sorry, but he doesn't have any officers who are looking for a canine partner right now." Lizzie sighed. The extra books in her backpack suddenly felt really heavy. She shifted it off her shoulders and let it drop to her feet. He did mention that they'll have a new class starting in the spring, Dad added. His tone was upbeat, but Lizzie and Dad both knew that spring was too late. Spirit needed his life to start soon. Start now. He was ready. He had way too much to offer to have to wait several more months. "Thanks, Dad," Lizzie said, forcing a smile. She yanked the backpack off the ground and headed for the house. The bag's bottom brushed against the snow as she walked. "Oh, I think your mom took a message for you earlier," Dad called out just before Lizzie reached the door. Lizzie felt her heart lift. Maybe the search and rescue Ocean or the service dog program had called to say they had a spot for Spirit. Mom! Lizzie was calling even before she'd stepped in the door, kicked off her boots, and left her bag in the entry hallway. "Mom, goodness, Lizzie," Mom said, appearing in the kitchen doorway with a crumpled dish towel in her hands. "What is it?" The bean walked up behind Mom and peeked through her legs. "Dad said you had a message for me." Mom nodded. "It's not good news, I'm sorry to say. The search and rescue people called to say they'd have no trainers available for the new dogs right now." Lizzie's face fell. "Ugh!" She sighed and kicked at her dropped backpack. "I think I'll take Spirit for a walk." If she couldn't find the sweet puppy a home, at least she could take the books to Eli. At least then she'd feel like she accomplished something. Plus, hadn't Mr. Lechner said he wanted to see Spirit again? Lizzie had a feeling he might be missing the sweet white puppy. "All right," Mom said. Be home by dinner. Lizzie found Spirit sleeping by the beanbag bag chair. She rubbed his head. The short fur of the puppy's ears were so soft. Want to go for a walk? The puppy opened his eyes and blinked, then jumped eagerly. Of course, I want to go for a walk, especially if I'm get to visit my mom again. Chapter 10. Even with all the books in it, Lizzie's backpack was a lot lighter. After she took out her lunchbox and her other school stuff, with Spirit bounding at her side, Lizzie already felt much better. He was such a sweet, smart dog. One way or another, she knew she'd find him a great home. As they came to the edge of the park, guys, wait, I forgot to do something. It probably was like Chapter 10. Even with all the books in it, Lizzie's backpack was a lot lighter. After she took out her lunchbox and other school stuff, with Spirit bounding at her side, Lizzie already felt much better. He was such a sweet, smart dog. One way or another, she knew she'd find him a great home. As they came to the edge of the park, Spirit began to tug on the leash. Easy, boy, said Lizzie. You'll need to work on his leash manners. Yes, we're going to your old house, Lizzie said, looking down at the puppy. His ears were pointed forward, and his eyes were bright. Please remember to stay calm. Don't get all rowdy. Lizzie realized that she should have called before she left. What if they weren't home? She could always leave the books inside their screen door. If they weren't there, the books would be safe and stay dry. Still, Spirit would be sad if he did not get to visit his mom and his old family. Lizzie would be disappointed too. At the life of the house, Spirit barked and flashed the dog a smile up at Lizzie. That's right, we're almost there, Lizzie said. Spirit's tail swished and spun, and its happy wag as they climbed the porch steps. It made Lizzie laugh. She decided to try the doorbell just in case. When she pressed the round button, a ding-dong followed. They fixed it, Lizzie said to Spirit. Mr. Lechner looked surprised when he opened the door. Hey, everyone, he called over his shoulder. It's Lizzie and Spirit. Hi, Lizzie said. Hi, Lizzie said. I was at the library and I got some books for Eli. She shrugged her backpack off one shoulder and started to unzip it. By the time she glanced up, the entire Lechner family had gathered by the door, even Eli and Mitzi. Lizzie swallowed down a gulp, feeling suddenly shy. Hi everyone. Spirit wasn't so shy. He sprang forward to sniff at Mitzi, and his tail wagging harder than ever. It's Mom! Oh, I really missed her. And my boy. I haven't seen him for so long. Mitzi nuzzled Spirit with her nose and wagged her tail as her puppy darted all around her. Spirit pulled hard on the leash, and it slipped out Lizzie's hand. The library books tumbled from her arms onto the porch. Oh, I'm sorry, Lizzie said as she grabbed for the leash. This was not how she had meant the visit to go. I didn't mean to cause a commotion, she said. Spirit, come here, boy. Calm down now. Spirit jogged back to Lizzie at once. He sat down, his tail still wagging across the boards of the porch. Lizzie gave him a pat and started to pick up the fallen books. "It's good to see you, Lizzie," Mrs. Lechner said. "We were just talking about you." Nora knelt down to help Lizzie with the books. "About me?" Lizzie asked. "Well, Aunt Spirit," Nora said, hearing his name. Spirit walked over to Nora and stuck his nose around in her face. Yes, yes, Nora said, ruffling the fur around the puppy's neck. "We were talking about you, Spirit, weren't we?" "We loved getting that picture of Spirit with your little brother last night," Miss Lechner said. It got us thinking. By then, Spirit had wandered straight into the Lechner's house, but no one seemed to mind. He went up to Eli and put a gentle paw on his arm, rest of the boy's wheelchair. We have family reading time at night, and Spirit was the only puppy who would actually stay still while we sat and read. Mr. Lechner explained. "Your picture reminded us of that. He would always curl up with me," Eli added, softly stroking Spirit's back. Suddenly, Lizzie understood why Spirit had always seemed so sad when he watched Charles and Buddy cuddle together. "That's sweet," Lizzie said. She had not seen Eli since the day of the accident. He looked pretty happy for someone whose leg was all wrapped in plaster and propped up in front of him like a board. Eli scratched Spirit under the neck, and the puppy lifted his chin up high. Then Eli bent to pull Spirit into a great big hug. His parents watched and smiled. "That's one of the reasons I think Spirit would be a great service dog," Lizzie said. "He's very patient and brave and intelligent, but I haven't heard back from the training center yet. You sometimes have to wait for a while for an open spot. So you really think Spirit he's very patient and brave and intelligent, but I haven't heard back from the training center yet. You sometimes have to wait for an open spot. So you really think Spirit has what it takes?" Miss Lechner asked. "Oh, definitely." Lizzie stood up and handed the stack of books to Mr. Lechner. Nora stood up too. Then she turned to look at Lizzie. What my parents really want to ask is, do you think Spirit would be better as a service dog than a pet? Because ever since you sent that picture, we have all been thinking that we'd love to have him come back and live with us. He could keep Eli company. He could keep Mitzi company. He'd be sort of like a service dog for our whole family." Lizzie frowned. "Really?" she asked. "I thought you didn't want a hyper-rowdy puppy in the house because she looked at Miss Lechner, "you're having a baby." I know, Mrs. Lechner said, her hand moving to her belly. "It would be a lot of work having a puppy and a baby, but I think our family can handle it. I promise to help a lot," Eli said. "Even more when my cast comes off, and I can make sure Eli does what he says he will do," added Nora, sounding like a typical older sister. Lizzie held her breath. Was this really happening? "Besides," said Mr. Lechner, "Spirit isn't nearly as rambunctious when he's not with his siblings. He's playful with Mitzi, but he isn't out of control. You're right, agreed Mrs. Lechner. Without his litter mates around, he's a lot more mellow. You know, I think this is exactly what Spirit has wanted all along. All along. To be back with his mom and his people. And Lizzie and secretly, I did too. So you think it's a good idea? Asked Mrs. Lechner. I think it's a great idea. And Lizzie's Spirit licked Eli's face in celebration, and Eli gave him another hug. Lizzie couldn't wait to tell her family and the Mienas this was the best news ever. Her wish had come true. Spirit had found the perfect forever home with his own family. The end, guys. So, guys, we're going to end this video right here, and bye! I hope you